Welcome to the first day of this Gouna International 2016. We're live from the Abu Dhabi Marina. This is the order of play on the glass court. First up, Miguel Angel Rodriguez. It's a very easy name to say. He's the number 7 seed, taking on Nafizwan Adnan, a very comfortable name from Malaysia. Cameron Pilley will take on the Hammer of Thor, which should be a classic. And then Mohamed El Shabagi playing the Black Falcon, Mazen Hisham, in an all-Egyptian encounter. Qualifier Greg Lobban will take on the powerful German Simon Rosner. So a wonderful, enticing first night here of this Gouna International. There was play at the Movenpick Hotel earlier today as well, and we'll update you with those results as the program goes on. But Nafizwan Adnan, 32 in the world ranking. He has been as high as 29. He's 29 years of age, 9 World Tour titles, and he's the Malaysian #1 currently. And the Cannonball, who loves these outdoor arenas, had a wonderful experience in Colombia with the outdoor, very warm environment, but this is a second home really for Rodriguez. 6th in the world, he's been as high as 4 semi-finals in Windy City. He's shown some very good form on the PSA World Tour, particularly recently. Now, I'm Joey Barrington, and joining me in the commentary box for the whole of this event, unless he gets sunstroke, is Simon Park. Good evening, Simon.
Good evening, Joey. It's fantastic to be here for the first time in Gouna. Obviously, I've been to Egypt many times, but first time in Gouna. You've been here many times, so you've been showing me around the marina today. Fantastic venue here.
It's a booming venue. They've turned it around. Originally, it was facing out to sea. Now we're facing inwards, which gives it a bit more shelter, because this could become a bit of a wind vacuum. Well, Parky, that's a physique and a half. I know you're aspiring in the gym at the moment, but he's a powerfully built young man, isn't he?
He certainly is. I don't think I was ever built like that when I was at my peak. You may have been, Joey, but you're a little bit vainer than I am, I think. You want to get the beach body.
One, it's genetics, and two, obviously, well, there's the burger van for you, Parky, and you'll be in there probably 3 or 4 times a day, as usual. Hopefully you won't.
I've already had a couple. They're delicious. I can recommend that burger van to anyone in the vicinity.
It's really all just down to genetics and a bit of hard work and discipline, Parky, at the end of the day. But we won't go into that for the viewers. We'll be concentrating on the squash. Well, it's a booming atmosphere. There's a decent amount of people in the back stand. It probably will fill up later for the Egyptians. They do tend to come out from their eating areas, which are surrounded in this area, to watch the Egyptian players.
Tournament 2016 first round match. Miguel Angel Rodriguez from Colombia and to serve Nafizwan Adnan of Malaysia to receive best of 5 games love all.
So the central referee Nasser Zaran, very highly experienced, taking charge of this one, Parky.
He certainly is. He's been around the block a few times. Doesn't take any nonsense. That's a pretty poor start from Rodriguez. Maybe just a little bit of nerves there in the first rally here. First rally of the glass court in this tournament. Had a pretty tough final qualifying match, Adnan, yesterday against our colleague Chris Gordon, Flash Gordon.
2-love.
Very tight, 3-1. He was telling us about it earlier today. He had his chances, but very, very strong, experienced player, Adnan. Particularly accurate in the backhand volley area. Just as I say that, slaps it in the tin, Joey.
Well, you actually had an outing with Adnan. It wasn't to the park. It was actually in the ESL, wasn't it?
Went to feed the ducks together.
We know all about that with our little members of the family.
No, it's a bit of a mismatch, a massive mismatch, me playing against Juan. recently, but yeah, I was very impressed with him.
Obviously, he couldn't compete with your physicality, but
No,
so
I
he
mean,
tried, didn't he?
Of course.
I bet it would have been like two rugby players on court when you were playing, Parky. Obviously, Adnan being a very, very strong centre, and you
Yeah, I know what's coming.
Tight head prop.
We'll have a way off after this match, I think.
Very warm conditions here, though, this evening. These guys won't be deterred by that, coming from Malaysia and Colombia, where it can be very humid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure as you get better and better, you play in more air-conditioned facilities, but they will have both grown up, and I'm sure at some stages on some pretty hot courts.
Excuse me, please, can you sit? Thank you.
He's taking his time, the fella in the red.
3-1.
There's no rush.
No. There's no point rushing around when you've got some of the best players in the world playing. Parky, we had some travelling, didn't we, getting here to Gouna? You wouldn't think,
just a bit.
Just coming from England, both taking the trains from our native areas, Somerset and Yorkshire, and then onwards to obviously Heathrow, Istanbul, and then to Hurghada, and Hurghada to Gouna. Well, that was a bit wild.
Well, then we had, don't forget the tuk-tuk from the hotel reception to the room.
Oh yes, we did.
That was the last part of the journey.
That took nearly the longest time. About 19 hours in total, not for the tuk-tuk, but the whole travelling.
And out.
We got here in the end.
Did.
I don't know what you think, Joey, but I'm going to go with Rodriguez in 4 for this match.
You think he'll sneak a game, do you, Adnan?
Maybe, yeah, 3-level 3-1, but I think sometimes Rodriguez can kind of have a little bit of a lapse.
Well, we've got the chap in the red has been labelled. I mean, he really is just walking around. The guys are on. I think a rugby tackle needs to come out.
Well, I think I was talking to McGueed earlier, the dentist, and he's a big chap. I think he can sort him out.
Yeah, I mean, that could probably be a bit, yeah, I mean, he'd take him out very quickly, wouldn't he? Just see him charging past and the flash of red going into the seat. Well, speaking of excitement, you have not yet experienced, because this is your first time in Egypt for 10 years?
I think at least, yeah.
At least 10 years. Well, you might know about Fireworks Day back home in England and Bonfire Night, but you haven't witnessed anything when it comes to the closing ceremony, Parky.
Well, I have witnessed it on SQUASHTV, but I haven't had the pleasure of being here live. I'm really looking forward to that.
I've been told that they will be coming in 4 days earlier to be rigging up that bonanza. Usually it's just the day before. Apparently there's 5 times more fireworks going off than last year.
Wowzers. I remember a couple of years back listening to you. I wasn't actually here, and you were very concerned about your wife, who was in the stands at that time. That was
she was on the side front row where the kind of jets of fire were coming out the ground,
didn't actually
quite
see
close
her
to
at
her
that point,
feet.
did you either?
No, I thought her was going to catch on fire.
That's good patience from the Colombian number 1.
For all.
Well read as well, just throwing himself into that volley. tight.
Handout 5-4.
Onto that ball nice and early. Adnan read it well, and both players just easing their way into this first round.
Well, I think with the conditions as well, I mean, it's you can't go off like a rocket.
No.
These guys being quite acclimatised to this environment. It's not easy being the first match-up, Parky.
No.
An outdoor glass court.
Yeah, the conditions can change quite wildly around the world, can't they? That's a good pickup, but he wasn't able to get the follow-up from Adnan. Adnan not too sure initially about this pickup, but yeah, it may have been down, but it was a quick finish anyway from Adnan on the second drop shot. No, that's a great hold and flip. Fantastic disguise there from Adnan.
7-4.
And that's what you have to do against someone as quick as Rodriguez. You can't play predictable squash. You have to hold him and try and affect his movement as much as you can. Try and delay the shots. He's playing well here, the Malaysian. That's a nice lift. Still controlling quite well here, Adnan. Yeah, it's good depth and width eventually from Rodriguez. Stuck in well, as we know he can.
Court service, please.
Yeah, it's very similar conditions here, Joey, to Colombia. And here we see our first court wipe. They were doing it every 6 rallies.
They were, and it did work very well. I mean, that tournament next year, which is going to be even better than it was. You see the fans in the tin on there, the air conditioning fans, but they're going to work on quite a few different scenarios. One with the floor, and 2 with a bit of extra air conditioning through the tin for the guys, which will be very effective, and that will dry the sweat up quickly as well. So they're on the case with that already, the organisers of that event. Fantastic. And it's just little tweaks here and there with these events. It's a new event in Colombia. Yes, it is a human environment, but you still just don't quite know, do you, until you've actually got the guys on there, how it's going to pan out. But it was controlled well in the end, because it could have been an ice ring.
Very steady attritional play from both players here. Has to be expected in these kind of conditions. That is a strong area, that backhand drop shot for Adnan. Or Wan as we know him on the circuit. Just a bit frustrated there with the wall. He should have played that. I don't know if somebody was moving on the side wall.
Probably.
Probably the man in the red shirt.
Excuse me, please. لو سمحت ممكن تقعد. لو سمحت.
Well, we're on the glass court that's used here in Egypt, the ASB, with the side doors, which I think can work pretty well. It works well in this event. The guys come in through there, sometimes through ritual of habit. You know, I would certainly be walking straight into the back wall at the end of games, because that's what you do,
isn't it?
So you probably will see that, the viewers, a couple of the guys that will disappear towards the back wall. But it's an experimentation that was done by ASB. But I mean, you get that very clear back wall. It looks nice and clean
there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. concept's not a bad one at all. It's like the players just disappear when they go out.
Decision, please. Yes, let 6-7. Yes, let. But you need video review.
Well, we're looking. There's not too much contact there.
Left.
No one's reviewing it. That would be why Juan is a little bit unsure. Talking to Flash Gordon about his game yesterday, he did agree that the backhand side was, as I thought, was a pretty strong area for Juan.
He's got a clean technique, isn't he?
Does.
He's got a decent technique on there, and his balance is always very effective. He's got such a strong base. Lovely lob serve from the Malaysian. I mean, he took a game off Gregory Gaultier. Gaultier wasn't on the best of form in Zurich just last week, but in the opening encounter he lost 3-1. It was some of the best squash I've seen Adnan play on a glass court against one of the top players in the world.
I think he's capable of going up, you know, improving still a little bit.
It's a lovely shot. He's subtle with his,
yeah,
with his
still
shots.
pretty
I mean, he's a
young.
highly experienced campaigner now, Pashi.
He can get top 20, I feel.
9-6.
Possibly even higher. I mean, he's got no problem with strength, as you say, and the stability and the balance. But if you can start to bring in a few shots like we've just seen there, a little bit of trickery at the front of the court and some disguise and delay, then it could go a long way.
Decision 4. Yes, left. 6-9-6. Left side.
Yeah, I think that's a let ball. Simple that.
So Adnan doing very well at 9-6 in this first game.
Should Juan win this rally, there might be a slight complaint from Rodriguez on the pickup there. May have been just a bit messy, but actually up. Let's see who wins the rally.
It's a real cat and mouse at the front of the court. Guessed it. Oh, that was the right shot to play. There's the screen from Adnan.
And out. 7-9.
Yeah,
he got it.
That fine.
Just a bit messy, wasn't it? Maybe caught the frame, but it was good.
And that's the unforced error. It's a right shot to play from Adnan, just clipping the top of the tin. Can he keep it together? Still got 2-point lead in this first game. Just see the busyness now, a bit of aggressive hitting from the Colombian. Doesn't want to sit back too much because Adnan at that tempo, Parky, is some serious weapons. It's a lovely hole. Very athletic rally, this. Could be a stroke.
Stroke. Tordesillas 8-9.
Yeah, there can't be too much. I just saw one have a little look. I think probably at another player at the back there, just to check that it was a stroke, and he's accepting that. We'll see here that it's a little bit loose, the attempted kill there, and he's right in the swing of Rodriguez.
I don't want to push.
What do you think to that one?
Adnan, please. Yes, let 8-9.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. He's going to review it here, Rodriguez.
Video review, please. Rodriguez on the yes, let decision.
I mean, it's a pretty good volley here, very good weight of shot, but Juan is very quick. He's bouncing at the back of the service box, but he's really trying. He's making a lot of effort to get that. I think that's still a let.
I mean, the first kind of explanation from Adnan was, you know, he didn't want to push too much. And I agree with that too, because he's not a type of aggressive player. He did enough to show, didn't he, there, Parky?
Yeah, he was making the effort.
Enough to show. I mean, if Rodriguez had given him a decent path and he'd been lazy, then that could have been a no-let. But so he did actually stay over the ball there, so there was a lot of interference. Could you say Rodriguez's full name very quickly and not get it wrong?
Is Rodriguez what, sorry?
His full name, quickly.
Miguel Rodriguez. Not Angel, as the referee called him.
Well, he's not even going to ask, so drawn level at 9-all. It's a bit of a delay, but Adnan feeling that ball was actually too good. Very fair player as well.
Yeah,
did you find him fair when he beat you 3-love
absolutely.
convincingly?
Yeah, there weren't too many moments where we had to speak to the referee. But I've watched him quite a lot, and he's yeah, I'm impressed with him. He's a no-nonsense sort of player. Just gets on with it.
Well, it's going to be a stroke. So Adnan is, after having a 9-6 lead, is facing game ball down.
10-8-9 game ball.
10-8-9. I'm not sure what that is, Joey, but it is 10-9 to Rodriguez. It just shows his resilience, really, and why he's got recently so high.
That's tight.
Very tight. And there's a fist bump.
Well, it's good to see a bit of that from Adnan. No, he doesn't panic at all, Rodriguez. I mean, sometimes first games for him can be a little bit shaky. He's got such a calmness about him, the Colombian. I mean, he does obviously love to play that natural exhibition type squash, which he's cutting down on again. He's got a great mental attitude. You hardly ever hear him say anything to the referees.
No, that's right. I think, though, that sometimes that's where things let Rodriguez down a little bit, where he kind of showboats. And that's where he has little lapses sometimes. It's fantastic for us as commentators to watch and spectators. Sometimes he gets in a little bit of trouble.
Position of Adnan. Yes, let 10-all.
I certainly wouldn't like to take that away from him, though, because he's one of the most entertaining players on the circuit, Rodriguez.
I mean, if you were a prominent sponsor in Colombia, you would be more than happy to throw a bit of dough at Rodriguez, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
The fact that he does so much hard work anyway, he's right at the top of the game and so unique, it's perfect, really.
Yeah, lots of reasons. Just the fact that he's by far the best South American player ever. And he's such a good ambassador in terms of his personality as well. And that's a good quick volley, good hands there. No ask from Juan.
11-10 game ball.
He's read it perfectly well. Good balance there from Rodriguez, and it's given him another game ball here.
Second of his first game.
That's clever.
Oh, it's
Very, very clever.
poor
there.
width.
Yeah, it was a poor width, but it was well read from Juan.
11 all.
And the awareness was what was impressive here. You could see the movement of Rodriguez going completely to the right-hand side there, and he couldn't get back quick enough, even with his speed.
Again, lovely service.
He does serve well from that right-hand side.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, it just reminds me of James Willstrop. Lob serve, and there's the unforced error from Rodriguez. So it's game ball for the Malaysian.
Game ball.
If you had a nickname for him, what would you call him? I know it's not. It's quite near Malaysia. Komodo Dragon. He's kind of built like a Komodo Dragon.
The wrestler.
The wrestler, Malaysian wrestler.
Malaysian wrestler.
Because there's not really. I don't know any wrestlers from Malaysia, so that's why it'd be, he's made the error.
He's gone for it.
And now 12 all.
Just a little bit, I mean, you could say brave. It was quite risky.
Game ball.
So I think that was 13-12 game ball. And there's the finish. So classy finish from this calm Colombian.
1 game to love.
So a very long first game, 23 minutes in duration. Rodriguez taking it 14-12. He leads Adnan by 1 game to love. Well, this is why I've flown on a 19-hour journey, particularly to go through the stats for this first game here. But unforced error count very low from both players. Adnan, as my co-commentator pointed out, very dangerous on that backhand side, particularly going short. But Rodriguez is calm, he's collected. And I think that the Colombian will start to push on now as he settled after the first game.
Yeah, as you saw there, pretty similar really in their winners and errors. Stats together, but very attritional start as to be expected from both players. Very, very fit, and obviously the conditions play a part here in Egypt. Very hot day we've had here in Gouna. Both players up to the task, and some very long rallies, quite thoughtful rallies. And it was Juan who took the early leads, playing some very, very tight squash and holding the ball exceedingly well at times. As you saw there, fantastic awareness really of the movement of Rodriguez. But in the end, Rodriguez just got that little bit of luck and takes the first game.
So there's one of Rodriguez's pals from Mexico, Cesar Salazar, giving advice. You see that reciprocated a lot at events, so it's great. The regional pairs, I mean, Salazar from Central America, but these guys supporting each other are so important, isn't it, for the growth of the game in that part of the world. Really does suit the kind of culture really down in Central and South America squash.
It's just great to see really. I mean, when I was playing on the circuit, I always had people helping me, and I used to help the English players if we could, and there hasn't been many great players from South America.
I thought you used to just kind of play and move on.
No, that's your perception, which is completely and utterly wrong.
Right, that's not what I've heard.
As usual, but no, there's not been many players from the South American region, so it's great that they're helping each other out.
Well, while these guys are knocking up the ball, just to anyone that hasn't looked obviously online at the results from the Movenpick, Leo Au beating Surab Gosal 3-1, Mathieu Castagnet 3-1 over Zahed Mohammed, the wild card. Chris Simpson 3-love over Paul Cole. That was a bit of a surprise to be that convincing. Cesar Salazar, who we just seen having a huge result over Mohamed Abouelga of Egypt in 5-game thriller. Thought Cesar would look a bit happier today. He was looking a bit down in the dumps before the opening ceremony. So that's a really good result for Salazar against Abouelga in these conditions in Egypt.
2-love.
Playing some clever stuff here, Rodriguez. He's really stretching one out, using the lobs and drops, and just chipping it around quite cleverly. Just tried a little bit too much, tried to push it in, nudge it in without much follow through there, Rodriguez. Making the error, but it was quite a clever rally before that. That could be a stroke. A little bit unlucky for Rodriguez, but nevertheless, it does come back into the body of Rodriguez.
Full credit to Adnan, knuckling down early stages of this second game, Parky.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's impressive. He just gets on with it, and he's not too. I mean, he should have really won that first game, but he's not getting down on himself.
Oh, that was a big miss, really. He did that against Gregory Gaultier. Forehand drop shot, Parky, where he just comes in and does a top spin.
Yeah. Open court there. I mean, the first shot that forced the weak shot from Rodriguez was so tight, and then he tins it. I mean, basically an open goal situation. It's good control on the stretch from Rodriguez. You can see he's lobbing really well. He's really, again, stretching one out, and you can see a big side from the Malaysian. He's struggling a little bit here. Both players known for their exceedingly good fitness, but I think Juan is the one who's breathing a little bit heavier at the moment.
He's going to be. He's obviously the heavier out of the two of them. Adnan, he's like a power lifter. I've said that so many times before, but the structure, the physicality, he's a bit taller than Rodriguez. He's very muscled, which means that aerobically he's going to struggle. His strength to weight ratio can be supremely fit and very strong, but if you're carrying extra weight when it becomes aerobic, then you're up against it.
Certainly in this heat as well, these conditions.
Physically, that was probably one of your, well, from the physical side, your prime strength was because you had the aerobic endurance, didn't you? You had a very, very big VO2 max to keep going at a very high tempo.
Yeah, I was quite lucky with that, I think. I think I had a natural base in that respect, and then obviously worked pretty hard at times on it, and yeah, that was
because you liked running, didn't you? You could run well.
Yeah, I did a lot of running on the squash court.
No, I mean general running as well.
Oh, outside, yeah, I did a lot of that when I was younger. Yeah, body couldn't handle it after a certain amount of time. That's fantastic skill.
Amazing,
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, who does a huge amount of mountain training in Colombia.
Great bit of skill there, and wry smile from Juan, still having a little
He's
smile
still
about
having
it.
a smile. It's nice, isn't it? We haven't even had a video review yet.
I think we had one.
Video review?
Yeah. Oh no,
No,
they
Parky.
didn't go for it in the end. You're right.
A bit jet lagged.
Yeah, they were going to do it. He was thinking about it. Oh, we have had one. I was right.
Well, I don't know where we were. It's the first game, actually. I remember it. It was a yes-let decision.
It's a wonderful shot there from Juan. It did sound a bit funny, but it was clearly good. Perfect line and so low. Great pace there as well.
And out 6-5.
It's very tight work from Rodriguez. It's simple squash, isn't it? Squeeze that ball tight to the wall, force the loose shot, and volley drop shot.
Well, 99% of the time, it's always the most effective. You won't be seeing simple squash with Mazen Hesham against Mohamed Al-Shabagi later on, though.
Well, that's my highlight of the day. All four matches today are fantastic affairs, but that's my highlight
Well,
tonight.
you become a huge. I mean, you do have. You know, obviously you enjoy watching all the players play, but you do have your favourites. You're building a real relationship, aren't you, with the Black Falcon?
Yeah,
He
he's a good
actually
lad.
took that to new levels.
6-7.
He had some Nike trainers that were ID'd with Falcon on the back in his colours, which he brought over for him.
I did. He spent a little bit of time in Pontefract recently.
It must have been interesting for him.
Getting some physio from Ian Horsley in Wakefield, who's very reputable, excellent physiotherapist, and I think it's done him some good.
Adnan.
Well, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's looking
Yes,
in great shape earlier today.
Well, he'll
ready
be
for
up
his
later,
match.
as we say. So 2 guys currently in terrific shape in these warm, humid conditions. And the Malaysian is not letting the Cannibal have his way. Although losing that first game, he's very much in this second. That was beautifully finished, though.
And out
So cool here.
6.
A lot of
Rodriguez,
midges
look at
around
the
here, isn't there?
balance.
A lot of mosquitoes, Parshy.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring my jungle formula down tonight, so we might be eaten alive.
You've always got your deodorant, which would help.
You've got your aftershave.
Down. 10-6. Game ball.
So 4 game balls, and there it is, first time.
11-6. Game to Rodriguez. Rodriguez leads 2 games to love.
So in this second game, just 9 minutes compared to the 23. Rodriguez now pushes on to 2 games to love. Well, hardly that many unforced errors from these guys, but Adnan unable to have that inroads with a positive play. It's good movement from Rodriguez, and he's not giving huge amount for the Malaysian to work off of, particularly on the backhand side. Solid second game from the Cannonball.
Yeah, a big winner error count difference there between these 2 players, unlike the first game, and that was the difference really. It was quite simple though, simple game from Rodriguez. He was a lot more accurate, and he was really using the height on the front wall and varying the pace a lot, and just keeping it simple really. A couple of occasions where Juan was able to get in front, but most of the time Rodriguez was in control in this second game. He's 2-love up.
Well, the Cannonball has gone to get a bit of extra space. It's disappeared all the way out to the Oh no, he's right by our commentary box. He's being
being fanned down
if
by
only we could get
Salazar.
one of our mobile cameras, which will be coming up later in the event, but he's being fanned, isn't he, by Cesar Salazar. He's there, and he's just got Salazar with a makeshift towel fan, just keeping him nice and cool. It's great, isn't it? I love the camaraderie with that. I mean, would you have been as selfless as that?
Absolutely, yeah. I was there, helping quite a few of the English boys. We were quite good like that in the 90s. Myself, Del Harris, Pete Marshall, Chris Walker.
Time.
Very impressive second game from Rodriguez. But I think Juan is going to be a little bit disappointed with that. He was starting to get tired there, wasn't he?
Time. The Greek leads 2 games to love. Labo. Down. Hand out, 1 love. Decision of Adnan. Yes, let. 1 love. Two love. Right, left, please.
Well, he was definitely feeling it a little bit there in the second game, Juan, and he's again made a good start to the beginning of this third.
Yes, left. Two love, left.
Looks like he's got a little bit of a second wind. But Rodriguez so far always seems to have an answer. I think Juan needs to find a few more opportunities where he can hold and delay. Obviously easier said than done. That's good play from Juan, just taking, oh, that's great improvisation. Taking Rodriguez forward, he's got a chance.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, that was awesome. It's outrageous.
That was so straight, and it was hit with such ferocity there from Juan.
Absolutely smashed that.
I mean, it's really high. It was a weird pickup from Rodriguez, as he does sometimes. But Juan hit it with such disdain. He's got the 3-love lead.
Stroke, Rodriguez, 1-3. Hand out.
See the stroke for Rodriguez.
he couldn't get out the way there, Juan. It's the right decision. Just caught one there on the backswing, quite clearly on the backhand volley. It's going to be a let ball.
1-3 right.
Just staying in. I don't know about you, Parky, but I just feel hypnotised by the humidity here. It can't be like it in Doncaster, where you're from, can it?
Well, I'm not actually from there, but that's where I'm residing at the moment
No late.
for a very brief period.
Hand out.
But no, it was actually a massive 17 degrees in sunny Donny the other day. I actually got sunburnt, believe it or not.
I do believe it.
But it is, yeah, just a tad warmer here in Gouna.
Oh, that ball, Adnan signalling it was down. Rodriguez is being as fair as ever. The referees went.
5-1.
No, it wasn't hand out. That ball was way down. I mean, you've got the guy that plays no. That was way down. Yeah, it's 5-1, but just the hand out was throwing us off. No.
Yeah.
Down.
Well, the Western players, Parky, playing out in this environment are going to find it so tough. So tough. You've got Mossad and Cameron Pilley. Pilley's going to find this very tough.
He certainly is. I mean, happened in Colombia a little bit, didn't it? So we had 4 Egyptians getting to the semi-finals.
Well, it hit Kaskelly very hard, actually.
Yeah,
there.
that was a big example. Obviously, he's been playing tremendously well recently, but just couldn't cope with the heat.
Just going into that lineup tonight, pretty equal pegging with conditions when you see El Shabaghi and Mazen Hesham, both obviously from this country. Cameron Pilley will struggle, and then the German. Imagine Simon Rosner in this humidity. I mean, he'll hopefully have brought at least 6 T-shirts with him. Greg Lobban from Scotland.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
It's not that humid in Scotland.
He's playing a Scotsman, so they're probably fairly equal on that
Fairly
level.
equal, but I mean, the sweat values that are going down, it would... it's good they've got a day off if Rosner wins, because he'll have to spend that whole day rehydrating.
And not with Hefeweizen.
With who?
It's a form of alcoholic drink, Joey.
Oh, right, no. That's what
No.
Leave that for you.
Well, he's had a lead in every game here, Juan, and Rodriguez has done well to get back in
Stroke to Rodriguez.
every time, really.
4-5.
We've been there, we know exactly what it's like. I mean, you just become so lethargic. So these guys are pushing through mentally and physically, trying to keep sharp here, but in between points, they're like kind of punch-drunk boxers. It is tremendously hard.
Well, particularly Juan here. I mean, he's been through ups and downs physically. And he's hanging in well. He's a strong boy, but Rodriguez has been coping remarkably well.
You've got to take into consideration that one played through qualification.
Yeah.
Parky
He
as
did
well.
have a
There's
tough game
forced
with
error.
Flash Gordon, a very tough game in qualifying.
5-0 left.
And apparently it's very, very hot on those courts at the Mervenpick Hotel.
Yeah, Flash Gordon, we saw him today, and he was still bright red.
Left please, 5-0. Left.
Have you worked out what the central referee is actually calling Rodriguez?
I think it's Rodriguez. For some reason.
I think I'll have to take the responsibility for that, because I got a bit tongue-tied in the opener.
6-5.
You got very excited.
Well, I was, you know, I get tongue-tied with Nafizwan Adnan, and I said that, I absolutely nailed it, and I kind of probably got over cocky. So when it came to Rodriguez, I just made up a new name for him.
Down.
Yeah, you should never get complacent, Joey.
I know that. I know that, Parky. That's what I keep telling you. So once again, Rodriguez hasn't panicked. He was 5-1 down, straight through to 7-5.
It's unbelievable how he runs through those shots, isn't it, and recovers. I mean, he's almost falling into the side wall, and then there we have a pirouette. Everything going on here with the Colombian. And he's played a good game here, Juan. With absolutely nothing to show for it at the moment.
Down. 8-5. 9-5. Down. 10-5, much more.
So 5 match balls, and there it is. So Rodriguez takes down Adnan.
Well, it's a great performance from Miguel Angel Rodriguez, the number 7 seed from Colombia. He goes through 14-12, 11-6, 11-5, 3-love in 48 minutes. And there's a little shot from Steve Cubbins, an interesting shot there through the strings of Rodriguez. So there we see with the stats quite in Rodriguez's favour in the end. 20 winners to 6 errors and 15 winners to 11 errors. That was the difference really for Adnan, especially in the third. He started to get a little bit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Miguel here with us. I mean, you just see now it's probably your third T-shirt for this match. Very, very humid here for you guys. Felt tough conditions.
Yeah, I didn't expect that yesterday. For here, it was a bit drier, but it was very humid. The conditions were very difficult, and yeah, it was quite difficult to keep the rhythm. I was maybe putting a lot of pressure and hitting too hard, and it was bouncing too much. So I had to focus and play maybe 70% of the speed, and I think it worked. I think the first game was a key point to win the game.
Just going on about this tournament, because there's a very similar event in Colombia that you played in a couple of months in Cartagena, and the outdoor venue with the humidity. But I mean, in an ideal world, you do love to play in this type of environment, don't you?
Yeah, I really like to play in this environment. The atmosphere, having the glass court outdoor is, I think, magical and fantastic especially for the crowd and for the squash. So I'm very happy because we had a similar tournament in Cartagena a couple of months ago, and we did great. So I think we need more of these kind of tournaments to promote more the squash.
And just going on now to moving into the last 16, you've got a rest day with it being a split draw. So tomorrow, just give the crowd a bit of an indication what you might do. I mean, you probably will sunbathe because you like the sun.
Yeah, I'll be half day on the sun, definitely, on the beach. Maybe I'll go for a light session in the gym, either in the morning or at night. Have fun here in Gouna because this is one of my favorite destinations. And yeah, enjoy my place here.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for the next round. Enjoy your day off. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to both Nafizwan Adnan and Miguel Angel Rodriguez of Colombia.
So, fantastic performance really from Rodriguez, just after a very, very tough first game, very attritional, and chances really for Juan to win that first game. It was a gradual drop really from Juan. He just wore him down, the Malaysian, and that's quite a hard thing to do. He's a fantastic player, is Adnan, very, very fit, and in the third game he was absolutely shattered, and the errors just came from the racket, and I think it was relief to finish in the end. So don't go away, everyone, because next on court we have Cameron Pilley from Australia against the Hammer of Thor, Omar Massad.